All right, you're back with talkSPORT, our dedicated NFL and US sports YouTube channel. More coming on that soon. I'm Will Gavin, Brian T. Smith, right for talkSPORT.com, alongside me. Play-by-play guy for talkSPORT, and you hear me regularly on the radio on Sunday nights. Another huge season coming up. We've got over 70 regular season games. We're doing Sunday Night Football. We're doing games with like the international teams. We'll be at every game in London, in Dublin, in Madrid, in Berlin, in Brazil. We're going to be everywhere. So get subscribed now. Get involved with the content. If you've not already watched our AFC video, we have gone through the AFC. We've made our divisional picks and our playoff picks. I actually made my Super Bowl pick. I didn't get you to do that. Maybe we save that for a later video. I had the Ravens going to the Super Bowl.
To quote Cole Palmer yesterday on Instagram or whatever, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I'm like, oh, where did you hear that before, Cole? Like, did Cole Palmer come up with that? It's
it's an original piece from him. Right?
I'm like, that's so powerful, man.
But the AFC video, what I will say is that we get into it. There's some really interesting chat on there, but it's relatively chalky. We had 6 of the 7 same teams.
I
going
changed
to the
it up.
playoffs.
Come on, man.
You had different division winners, but we had 6 of the 7 same teams going to the playoffs. And I think in the AFC, there is a much bigger divide between those bottom 5 or 6 teams and the rest of the division, right? The rest of the conference. For me in the NFC, I can't put the Giants, the Saints, or the Panthers yet in the playoffs. And a couple of those teams I like where they're going, but
right, because you're an intelligent person, and no intelligent person would put those teams in the playoffs.
But that leaves 13 teams, 7 places, and I think there's a good argument for almost all of those 13 teams.
The NFC reminds me of the Eastern Conference in the NBA, to where Western Conference is so loaded, so deep. There's a couple teams that are in it, but in the end, you're not going to go crazy and shake it all up. The NFC East is more like the Eastern Conference in the NBA, where it's pretty wide open. Outside of a couple teams, there's a lot of variation in there. I had a lot of fun trying to put this one together. Before I forget, on Twitter, we're at talkSPORT_US, talkSPORT.com, because we just continue to ramp up our NFL coverage.
Right, Brian, I'm going to let you pick first division then.
All right.
Give me a division winner. Tell me why you're picking them.
So I'm not going to start with the NFC East first, even though that's usually how we start. What should I do? Let's have fun again, because I'm changing it up this year. Let's start with the NFC North.
All right. Many people think could be the best division in football.
So
the two West divisions in the NFC North are like the 3 that people are.
Yeah. So I really like this division, just like I like the AFC North. And I went back and forth. I was thinking about it last night. I was texting you guys, trying to okay, what are we gonna do for the show? I thought about it on my morning. The one ritual I have like 8 rituals in London, but my main ritual is walking the dog in the morning before I go into work. And so that's where I get a lot of that's my shower thinking, right? That's when I get all my life thinking done from about 5:45, 6 a.m. until about 7 a.m. And I won't give the park that I walk to because I don't want any stalkers, but I'm walking in the park in the morning, beautiful London morning weather. And I was saying with the NFC North. And I was telling myself,
I really want to know how wide it's going to go here.
I cannot doubt the Detroit line. You're an idiot. I love to joke around calling myself an idiot. How could you do that? Like, you can't pick against the Lions. And I kept thinking about it, but things change in the world, Will. This is as in 2025. You look at the political landscape, everything going on in the world. There's a lot happening right now. It's a very fast-moving world. You go down at some point. And someone's always on the rise. And I just look and I question JJ McCarthy. It could go horribly. But I'm picking the Minnesota Vikings to win the NFC North, which means the Detroit Lions will not, and I have to make the Detroit Lions a wild card team, which sounds so crazy to me. But I look at those and I know it's a little oversaid now, but I look at the coordinator changes for the Lions. And that this team, it does feel like to me, peaked last year. Now, they would be an easy Super Bowl pick. They would be an easy Super Bowl winner pick. I get it. But I feel like if the Lions were going to do it, it was going to happen the last 2 years. And Jared Goff couldn't play any better last year. And they still flamed out in the playoffs. I like Dan Campbell as regular season coach. I don't love him as a playoff coach. I think he has limitations. You lose both your coordinators. They had, for all the issues and injuries last year, the Detroit Lions almost had a perfect year. The Minnesota Vikings with Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell and returning a ton of pieces. You have Justin Jefferson. You have a settled quarterback situation, and everything coming out of camp is that J.J. McCarthy looks pretty good. And Kevin McConnell just has a look right now.
I love Kevin O'Connell.
And he's smart. He's super smart. We've interviewed him talkSPORT. I like him a lot. Very impressed with him. I am picking the Minnesota Vikings to win the NFC North, which is crazy because it is a quarterback who's never played before, who hasn't really played in 2 years. That doesn't work in the NFL, but I think it works this year with the Minnesota Vikings.
So, spoilers, I have the Vikings as wildcard team. I think they are so talented, and I like what they did do. Like, I feel like I'm the trenches guy on these two shows today, but as we're recording them. But I like going and getting, when you've got essentially a rookie quarterback, I like going and getting that Ryan Kelly, Will Fries. You went and got the best guard available in free agency. And then you got the centre who plays alongside him, who also is a veteran, knows how the game works, can work with J.J. McCarthy. And pairing those two together, I really like, right? And you've got Justin Jefferson and hopefully Jordan Addison once he comes back off the suspension. And, I've always been a Jalen Naylor guy. The run game can be good. If Jordan Mason can come in and support Aaron Jones, because I don't think J.J. McCarthy's going to be a 4,000-yard passer, even with all that receiving talent. I think offense can still be good, but I just can't put a guy that I thought was the fifth best quarterback in last year's draft.
It's a little risky for
me, winning the division. And you add on top of that, Brian Flores might be one of the most fun, exciting coordinators in all throw. He's so scheme specific and so game plan specific, and he's so brilliant at what he does there. But I hated the Javon Hargrave signing. I hated the Jonathan Allen signing. They're both just guys who, there's an if they are healthy and back to their best, suddenly you've got two great players. But I think there's a 20% chance for either of them of being that guy that they were 2 or 3 years ago. And, Jeff Okudah, they are the latest team to believe that Jeff Okudah could still be something in the NFL. I think there's literally only about 4 people left who still believe in Jeff Okudah. So I don't know. Everything they did this offseason felt like a tiny step back from where they were. Nothing to me looks like a big improvement. I prefer sticking with McCarthy. I think they've made the right decision. I just think it will take a year to get there. My NFC North winners are the Green Bay Packers.
Wow.
I really think the Lions...
So we're both hating on the Lions.
Are the Lions a wild card team?
Because I don't even have the Packers making the playoffs.
Okay, interesting.
This is fun. Live, unscripted YouTube sports streaming radio.
I have put serious consideration into the Packers being my Super Bowl team this year.
Oh my God, Will, what are you doing?
So I have a really interesting kind of relationship in my mind with Jordan Love.
Where's this conversation
Jordan Love
right
has the most incredible arm talent, and if he can just be reined in, and if he can,
I heard.
There's an if. There's an if.
I heard an if in there, Will.
But I believe in LaFleur and Matthew Golden. All the sounds I can.
That was a nice pick.
I didn't actually like the pick initially because I'm like, they want a wide receiver one, and he's not your big boundary X guy. He's not going to be a guy who can go up and get stuff. He's not a Jefferson. He's not a Jamar Chase.
Man.
But actually, my biggest problem with Jordan Love has been, while their offense has been on the field, they seem to have the receivers in the wrong positions, and then Love is trying to throw a deep shot to a guy who should be coming underneath, or coming underneath to a guy who's a speedster, or it's never really clicked.
I'm sorry,
I think Matthew Golden will unlock a huge amount of that.
I'm not still fully sold on Jordan Love. So wait, really quick, clarification. So you have the Packers winning the division.
I do.
You have the Vikings making the playoffs as a wild card. What happens to the Lions?
Let me just talk about the Packers defense, and then I will get to that. I promise I will get to that, because I think Jeff Hafley in year one had almost as good a year as could have expected, considering I didn't like the hire. Another great prediction I had from last year. They were fifth in total defense, 7th against the run, 6th in fewest points allowed, all while not really having a great pass rush. What he needs to do this year is go, right, I've got 4 first-round picks on my line. I need to start getting to the quarterback with 4 guys, because I can't keep relying on... And Edrin Cooper, I think, might be one of the most freaky athletes, and maybe by the end of this year, we might be calling him the best linebacker in the NFL. But you can't just be relying on him constantly to be your best pass rusher when you've got all that talent up front. So I'm backing the defense to take another step forward in year 2 under Jeff Hafley, and I'm backing Jordan Love to finally take all of that talent and prove that that first flash of 5 or 6 games where he looked phenomenal is what he can be consistently. But if both those things happen, I think they might be the best team in the NFC.
So your Packers pick is a little bit like my Broncos pick, which is we were having fun in predictions. It's a little bit qualified with if Bo Nix really with Sean Payton, on and on and on. Okay, all right, I can see it a little more. I'm just, as of this point in human history, I have Jordan Love as the 12th best quarterback in the NFL. That's a huge leap for him to take this year.
So we haven't even looked at the other 3 divisions yet, but you raised the point, and we need to talk about it. I came very, very close to having the Detroit Lions miss the playoffs entirely.
Yeah. They are due to fall.
And listen, I don't want this to in any way be a comment on either the talent there or
because they're still loaded. I mean,
absolutely, or on Dan Campbell himself, who I think should be in the conversation for best head coaches in the NFL, full stop. Not just best seasons, not anything else. Like, I think you've got that kind of God tier with Andy Reid, and then I think he's in that very next tier
maybe
down.
The best motivator in the NFL, yes.
I think the biggest X factor for them is who are Kelvin Shepherd and who are John Morton, and are they going to be Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson? And all the noise out of Detroit has kind of been like, Dan Campbell's an offensive guy and had a lot to do with that as well.
Long time NFL tight end.
They're kind of really,
offense.
They're really trying to put down the Ben Johnson loss and be like, it's not that big a deal. I was thinking about this too.
Guys. I mean, Jared. It's not like they just traded for Jared Goff. Like, Jared Goff has been in that system. The system is changing a little bit. Jared Goff can run that offense. I mean, I love watching, like the quarterback documentary, because one of the things it shows you, not that you don't know it, but you're actually able to see inside the inside. And you realize very quickly, like, my gosh, Jared Goff is really, really smart. Like, you might not think he is brilliant if you look at him, right? Just, because he California, Golden Boy, whatever. You listen to him run that offense, and I'm just always blown away by how complex NFL offenses really are inside of them. You can't tell me you take Ben Johnson away and Jared Goff is just going to absolutely fall apart. But you look at what they've done the last couple of years and how perfect it all went, even with all of the injuries. I just don't see any way you lose 2 coordinators and you have other changes and you're still winning 14 games. That doesn't happen in NFL history.
And I think the loss of Frank Ragnow at center is absolutely huge,
which you mentioned, which is a huge thing.
Like, I think that is the other thing. I think, like, they are putting a rookie on that line now. That Graham Glasgow's a fine player, but, like, for the way that scheme works, he's absolutely huge to it. Now, it could be that David Montgomery comes back and the run game. My whole thing is, this is coming back to me caveating it again. If it's Thanksgiving and they've won 10 of the first 11 games, I wouldn't be completely stunned.
I won't be surprised either,
But I look at the start of their season where they play the Ravens, Bengals, Chiefs, really Bears, and Packers in 5 of the first 6 games.
And sometimes it comes down to division too, right? That's if the Bears are just a little better, which they should be somewhat better. Neither of us are picking the Bears to make the playoffs, by the way. And some people,
I nearly did,
but you didn't. And a lot of people, they're kind of like the smart, cool internet social media pick right now.
Absolutely.
Chicago Bears are winning the NFC North, but the Bears will be better. The Vikings, I have them winning the division. You have the Packers apparently winning the Super Bowl, and you have the Detroit Lions. They're not going 6-0 in their division. No. Right?
And they've got to play the AFC North this year, and they've got a first-place schedule as well, so they're playing all the other division winners.
They are falling. Are they sliding? TBD, but they are falling. You have the Packers.
They're not going to win 15 games this season. Yep. Are they going to win 10, 11, 12 and get a wild card spot? I think so. But also, if they went 7 and 10 and it was a big transitional year, I wouldn't be that
I wouldn't be stunned. Yeah. And then they're going to have questions with Goff and Campbell, and that's just how it goes. And they thought, all right, let's switch.
I think that was a fun division.
Yes.
I want to go to another fun division.
Let's do it.
Because I think there is a real argument in the NFC West.
Oh my God, where's
for 1 through 4 to finish in basically any order. If you could talk me into...
It's my least favorite division still in the NFL. I'm sorry.
I think it's the best division in the NFL this
No,
year.
it is not, Will.
I really think.
Not.
I think the Cardinals have taken a huge step forward. The Seahawks defense is the other defense alongside the Broncos and Texans.
Is it better than the AFC North and the NFC North?
I think that it is both of those divisions, and we expect the Bears to be better, but both those divisions have a team who, like the Cardinals, have been in recent years.
That's fair.
I genuinely think like there is a argument for all 4 of these teams within the division. Now, that being said, I've stuck with the LA Rams, who they were slightly surprised appearance in the
I'm about to
NFC
shock
title game
I'm
last year.
shock your pants off right here.
But I am really concerned about the Matt Stafford stuff. Like, I just think the way that they talk about that injury and the way
when's he gonna play?
It reminds me of the Christian McCaffrey stuff last year, right?
Yeah.
Where there was lots of murmurs and rumors and hearsay and everything else, and they kept saying things like, "Oh, he's seeing a specialist and he's getting this." And like, no, we're not concerned. We're not concerned.
But even he was your running back.
He's now out for 8
your quarterback.
games. Yeah. Well, I mean, he might be as important to that San Francisco team, but that does ring real alarm bells to me. And like, I know that Sean McVay is convinced that he can make Jimmy Garoppolo into a viable, and he's been to a Super Bowl and everything else, but I don't believe in Jimmy Garoppolo.
I don't either.
And then I look at the defensive side of the ball for the Rams, and I think there are big question marks over that secondary still. I love the pass rush. I love the front. I love the signings they've made in recent years. They're a really exciting young team. I do think they are, on paper, if Stafford is fully healthy and good to go, I pick the Rams to win the division, and then it's who makes a wild card from that division. But there's a real world where he's not, and that's why I make this pick slightly tentatively.
I have a lot of respect for you right now because I thought...
And Devontae Adams, by the way.
Is
an unbelievable signing. And I just had to mention it because you've basically gone and got a guy who might be the 9th best receiver in the NFL this year to pair with a top 3 guy in Puka Nacua. And you've got, they haven't even had to spend that much money. It's ridiculous.
I went with another team in the NFC West.
It's not the Niners because that would be too kind to me.
I picked the San Francisco 49ers.
Here we go.
You can see it right here.
Yeah, he's not lying. I picked the San
Francisco 49ers. I'm stunned you did not pick your 49ers. You're wearing 49ers colors. You look like the logo right now.
That was fully unintentional, but I have got a little bit
I picked the 49ers. Now I have question marks. Of course I do. Brock Purdy is good enough to win the division. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan, we all know that Kyle Shanahan, after a down year...
Do you know what is really funny to me? And just to...
We'll bounce back.
To say this now, and I want to hear everything else you've got to say. Brock Purdy is the one thing I am in no way concerned about.
No, Brock Purdy's fine.
To me... Yeah. His performance last year put him on that borderline of a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
I would have him number 10.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not putting him at 5 or anything.
He's a top 10 quarterback.
But 8, 9, 10, 11,
all the
12.
issues they had last year, and he was still putting up really good numbers. And going into the contract stuff, Brock Purdy is the least of my concerns with the San Francisco 49ers. It does for me still. I said this 1,000 times last year. Come back to Christian McCaffrey. I do. Matthew Stafford seriously worries me right now. I don't know how all of a sudden you just show up week 1 and you are magically fine. There aren't many things in the world you can fix like that. He's had injury issues for years. He thought about retiring. He's on the verge of making that decision. It feels like he could pull a Tom Brady and go into the broadcast booth. He's not going to get $375 million, but at any point, they thought about maybe moving on from him, on and on and on. So there's a huge question mark there. I feel like the rest of the division is good, not great. I feel like I do agree with you. I feel like the NFC West is completely up for grabs, and I'm picking the 49ers.
The defense is what fascinates me, right? And Brock Purdy, the love I want to give him is that everyone said, well, yeah, it's easy when you're going in and you've got Kyle Shanahan and you've got the Avengers as your receivers and running back talent. And guess what? Last year he didn't have that. He didn't have Ayuk and he didn't have McCaffrey and he didn't have
Deebo Samuel and And
I think if you look at everything about him last year, his EPA per play, his depth of target, everything else, and compare it with the first season, you looked at the 2 statistical seasons, there's no way you'd believe that was the same quarterback. Yeah. It basically completely flipped. Year 1, everything was yards after the catch, everything was short. And year 2, they didn't have any of that.
He was a quarterback last year,
And so, I'm not going to spend too long on that, but I have some concerns with the offensive line if Trent Williams can't stay healthy. Yeah. They have never been a great offensive line. It's been a team that they patch together and scheme tends to bail them out and quarterbacks tend to bail them out. I love Pooney, but the rest of that line, not really particularly excited about. But on the defensive side, Salah coming back in, if he's the same Robert Salah he was 4 years ago, great from a culture perspective. Wonderful.
Love him as a coordinator. Don't like him as a coach, yes.
But he is still a kind of 4-down lineman. We're just going to do the same thing every snap. We're going to rely on the talent. And that was great when you were going to Super Bowls and you were 8 deep on the defensive line and you had all this amazing pass rush talent. Now you've got potentially your starting 4 is going to have 3 rookies in it, which like I said about the Rams, that they've managed to pull that off somehow in recent years, but it's very, very rare that in one unit you can replace 3 out of 4 of them with rookies and have it work. And you add on top of that, you're not going to have your second linebacker this year in Drake Greenlaw, so what is D. Winters going to be? You add to that in the secondary, you lost Travarius Ward. Do you believe that, Jason Pinnock is going to be able to come in and play quickly? Like, there's so many of those question marks. But I do think, to be positive about it, they are a wildcard team for me. And to be positive about it, if they go from being like the 25th, 26th best unit in the NFL, which because of their play against the run, they were that low last year, to like middle of the pack to 16th, and the offense is then a top 10 offense, suddenly you're talking about a team who could be an 11-12 win.
Yeah, I think that's a division too that you could. I mean, it's hard to win a division at 9 games, but you could win that division with 9 games. More likely, you need at least 10. I'm not super convinced on the Rams. I'm not super convinced on anyone else on the division. I think it's an interesting division. I feel like it's up for grabs. I think the 49ers will win it. Let's keep rolling through these divisions.
I just want to know, how do you feel about the Cardinals and Seahawks quickly? Do you really not think... Because my big struggle is...
I do not... I mean, Sam Darnold peaked last year with Minnesota. That is my personal opinion. I think I think
disparity between the 2 key units in the NFL, sorry special team fans out there, I don't think there's going to be a team in the NFL who have a bigger difference between offense and defense. Yeah, but the defense might be that good.
Yeah, but I just don't think the Seahawks are good enough right now. I mean, and again, it is the most up for grabs in some ways division in the NFL. I disagree with you. I don't think it's the toughest division. I think it's 4 teams that could be good, none great. Someone could have a horrible year. I think Seattle feels like a 7 to 8 to 9 win team to me.
I think the same about the Cardinals, but also I see a
and I don't feel like the Cardinals are all of a sudden going to leap up and win 12 games. I'll always have Kyler Murray questions. He was better last year. They have some talent. Marvin Harrison Jr. should be better. I love where they're at tight end. Defense, I'm not sitting around being like, oh my God, the Arizona Cardinals are going to be the coolest team in the NFL this year.
My biggest concern is I think the Arizona Cardinals might have been the coolest team in the NFL last year, because if you're a nerd, the lack of talent they had and how well they played is because they had to do some weird stuff. Yeah. Like, they got so weird on particularly the defense side of the ball. Now Jonathan Gannon's gone out and signed 6 pass rushers in one offseason, including 2 or 3 of the best guys available. I'm worried he's just going to go, oh, we can just play like the Eagles now, and we don't have to do any of that fun stuff. I'm worried they're going to stop being fun, but I do think they've got a high ceiling.
I won't be shocked at all if they win it or the Rams win it. I don't think the Seahawks win it.
All right. The NFC is way more contentious.
I got to get back to the other job.
Let's do the NFC East. Come on. Well, or do you want to tick off the NFC South? Tampa Bay.
Will. I am allowed.
No, come on.
I have freedom of speech. I'm from the United States of America. I live in the United Kingdom. Keir Starmer said that freedom of speech still exists here. Obviously, it doesn't in the great old US of A. I can say whatever the hell I want, man, and I have my picks right here, and you're not going to change my mind. I picked the Atlanta Falcons to win the NFC South, because the Atlanta Falcons were actually a pretty darn good team last year. They still should be on the rise. They have a lot of talent. You have Kirk Cousins as your backup, so if that doesn't work out with Michael Penix, you have your answer. And just like Bo Nix, just like Drake May, what have we learned in the NFL the last few years? That you can be a young quarterback, a talented quarterback, a smart quarterback, and you can take over a team and a system. As long as you have the pieces, you can get to 9 wins. You can get to 10 wins. We saw that Jaden Daniels last year. I have the Falcons barely winning it. Again, I don't think that is not a great division. I'll tell you what's not happening. New Orleans Saints ain't winning that division. They're not making the playoffs. They might be the worst team in the NFL. The Panthers, 6 wins, 7 wins, 8 wins. I mean, if I'm going to peak on the Panthers, they're winning 8 games. So I'm down to 2 teams. I still feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers they're okay.
I think they have the best roster in the NFL outside of quarterback.
My gosh.
Like, I think
that is so strong.
I think 2 to 53 may be the best roster. Like, I think.
But do they have the best coach? I'm not a big top.
Great offensive line, great weapons. They only had 7 interceptions last season. I think that kind of poor luck they had on that side changes.
Last time Baker Mayfield lost a key piece to his system. He lost his offensive coordinator.
Tampa Bay, I found the easiest division winner to pick. I really did.
Do you have like Tampa Bay and Green Bay in the
no, I don't.
NFC Championship?
No, the 49ers are going to get to the Super Bowl from the wild card, right? Obviously.
I have the Falcons, man, and I'm going to stick by.
All right.
I said it was going to be a little more wild and crazy this year. Yeah. I have the Falcons winning the NFC South, and please,
I don't hate the Falcons at all.
Please come back in 6 months and let me know if I was if I was wrong. Don't forget about it. But if I was right, please, Tom, document this, and we'll play it back in 6 months, and I can have some real scotch and enjoy it.
I don't hate the Atlanta Falcons. I think they're worse than they were 12 months ago.
Wow.
Like, I don't like their off-season moves. I don't like, nothing went, oh, that's improved a position group for me. Which means that they should be like an 8, 9, 10 win team, and maybe that wins the division, but I just don't see that higher ceiling for them.
That's okay.
Whereas Tampa Bay, I think there is a world
I don't see that high ceiling
together.
for Jordan Love, so it's a fun conversation.
All right. Let's do the NFC East then. NFC East. Maybe we'll be chalky with this one.
I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, I could talk myself into the Commanders. I actually think the Commanders will struggle to replicate what they did last year. They had a very, very, very interesting offseason. I like some of the moves. I didn't like some of the moves. I don't see Deebo Samuel playing like 17 games and being the perfect answer, right? I mean, that's just too good to be true. Sure.
If the 49ers were a team loaded with ifs,
then
the Washington Commanders are tenfold, right?
So
I've also got the Eagles winning the division, right?
Right, and that's where I was going. Like, I sometimes go process of elimination or go, quarterbacks. Well, let's be really simple. The New York Giants are gonna suck. Oh, I said the S word. Sorry. The New York Giants are not going to be good.
It's not the S word I thought you were referring to.
Jackson Dart will take over by the 3rd, 4th, 5th game, and I like the potential of Jackson Dart. Brian Dable and Joe Schoen are trying to save their jobs. I don't think they're going to save their jobs. So the New York Giants they're done already. The Dallas freaking Cowboys are still, for my money, the biggest disaster, and maybe you picked them, and that's fine if you did. The biggest drama show disaster in the NFL. We don't even know right now as we record if Micah Parsons is playing. Dak Prescott is one injury away from his career being over. CeeDee Lamb, I like him, but I feel like he might be entering a weird spot. I actually thought
him and Pickens thing is the one thing that gets me excited about.
So I was about to say George Pickens. While I didn't love what he did in Pittsburgh, he gets a reset. He needs that badly. Now all of a sudden you have CeeDee Lamb.
Like, who's the last good outside receiver the Cowboys had? Like Michael Gallup 5 years ago when he was at his best.
Was pretty good for a while and underrated. So I actually think George Pickens will have a nice year because he's playing with CeeDee Lamb. Mm-hmm. But I don't see Dak Prescott making it through a full season. The defense was horrendous last year, and now Micah Parsons, he want to play for you. I don't have the Cowboys making the playoffs again, so now I'm down to the Commanders and the Eagles. I think Commanders take a step backward. And I cannot. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles could very well. Here's the other thing. I did not pick the Eagles. I'm not picking them to repeat as champions, but I won't be surprised at all the Philadelphia Eagles to go back to back.
I think the Eagles, it's clear that they have had a bit of a talent drain, right? Particularly on the defensive side of the ball. Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, Mekhi Becton going off the offensive line. CJ Gardner-Johnson, I hated the moving away from him, but obviously there is a culture thing with that guy that he only ever does 2 years somewhere, so I kind of get that. I actually don't like a huge number of their moves. They drafted well, but I can see a world where they start the season poorly for their standards, where they're not. And this is a video for another time, right? Everyone's suddenly putting Jalen Hurts as the 5th or 6th best quarterback in the NFL because he played very well in 2 games last year. He wasn't very good in the regular season. He wasn't the reason that they got to the Super Bowl. That was Saquon Barkley. And guess what? When you've touched the ball 400 times in a year and rushed for over 2,000 yards, it's very rare that a human being can do that in back-to-back seasons.
He's not replicating that season this year.
So I still have the Eagles as my division winner. I still think they're one of the teams I think have a Super Bowl chance, but I don't think they're going to be the same they were last year. They'll need to find different ways to do it.
So who are your wild cards of the NFC?
Detroit Lions.
Yep, I got them.
San Francisco 49ers.
Okay, my NFC West champ.
Minnesota Vikings.
Okay, my NFC North. All right, I like it. I have the Lions. I have the Commanders. And then I have a weird one.
Can we do the Commanders first? I'll get your weird one in a moment.
Yes, and then we got a couple minutes because I have to go do the day job. Yeah.
I have the Commanders missing the playoffs entirely. They got older this year. They got worse this year. And will they, if they get into the playoffs and Jaden Daniels is brilliant again, absolutely fine. But I fully think that we are stacked. We've positioned ourselves mentally for like a, maybe not RG3 because of the injury, but like a CJ Stroud year 2 where he only has to take a tiny step back and everything around him is much weaker than it was in Houston.
Yeah.
They don't have the defensive pieces.
Really
they don't have the pass
who's better
catchers.
to you, CJ Stroud or Jaden Daniels?
If I had to draft one
right
now for my team, I'd just maybe shade Jaden Daniels.
I would take Jaden Daniels.
But I tell you what, they'd be... Once I've got past the big 4, if I'm drafting a team from scratch, those guys could be 5, 6, 7 in
and it could very well
area.
change in a year or 2 years. That's how it goes. Right
I love both players.
I think Jaden Daniels is good enough, poised enough, smart enough, prepares well enough that the Commanders will step backward, but I have them making the playoffs.
They have gone into this year as if they are a Super Bowl contender.
Right.
And that's what they've done in free agency and everything. And they have the oldest defense
They're trying
in
to
the
the
NFL.
Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson,
and
a really good quarterback who surprised us on a rookie scale contract, and they're trying to max out very
I wanted
quickly.
them to do more what the Chargers have done and be sensible and build slowly. And I think they're going to have a
All right, I have one crazy wildcard pick.
Go on.
I feel really weird about it. Like, I don't even like saying it. But I picked the Chicago Bears
I don't hate it.
to be the final wild card.
I know I should sit here and bang table. Oh my God, that's ridiculous, because that's what makes a better video. I think they've got one of the best staffs in the NFL.
I think they're going to be better.
Good.
I love Caleb Williams has got to prove it, man. Don't let me down, Caleb Williams, because he's still a little too emotional. But Caleb Williams with Ben Johnson, obviously, just has the feeling to be pretty dangerous.
They were my team.
Caleb Williams is super freaking talented, and Ben Johnson is super freaking smart. Like, you watch the quarterback series again, and you realize pretty quickly, we can say Detroit, Jared Goff is smart, but Ben Johnson was running that thing, man.
The concern I have with both him and Liam Cohen as these offensive geniuses is when they've got to do the boring head coach stuff of figuring out the travel and doing the the scheduling and all that stuff, how much they can apply to the thing that they're brilliant at while they're dealing with the head coach stuff, right? What I love about Ben Johnson is Dennis Allen's there, one of the best defense coordinators of the last 20 years.
Yep.
Terrible head coach, but brilliant,
heck of a coordinator.
Brilliant defensive coordinator. Eric Bieniemy's your running back coach.
Yeah.
Like, they have he's just gone out and got all of these smarter, older coaches who know how to work things functionally. And so there is a world for me. I'm with you. The Bears were like my on the bubble 8th pick. Should I get them in over the Commanders?
And that's why I think AFC North and NFC North, those divisions are just fascinating. Like, those are awesome divisions. I have 3 teams coming out of both of those divisions.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us, tuning in. Brilliant stuff. You've been listening to Can we put the end of the other video on? Because we lost all the screens. That's fine. We lost all the screens. Don't worry about it. Subscribe, like, ring the bell, social media, everything else. We said this video is going to be 20 minutes. It's gone for half an hour. It's all good.
It was fun, Will.
Brilliant work as always, Brian. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sorry about this. That's hilarious.